picnic. He was happy to leave the airport behind. But when he turned a bend in the track, he had to stop at a signal. Thomas heard Jeremy taking off. And then Jeremy flew right over his funnel. "It's not fair," huffed Thomas. "Jet planes don't have to stop at signals." Thomas puffed past the windmill, but Thomas could still see Jeremy. He was now high in the sky. Suddenly, Thomas saw a cow on the tracks in front of him. "Jet planes don't have to stop for cows," Thomas puffed sadly. Thomas arrived at the picnic. The blankets were laid out, and everyone was having a wonderful time. But Percy thought Thomas looked sad. "Jet planes can go wherever they like. I wish I were a jet plane," chuffed Thomas. "But engines can pull passenger cars and take children to picnics," peeped Percy. "Engines are really useful." But Thomas wasn't sure. Jeremy was jetting to the mainland, but dark rain clouds were gathering. And Jeremy had to return to the airport. Thomas was passing the airport as Jeremy came in to land. Thomas didn't want to talk to him, but Jeremy called out, "Thomas, a summer storm is on its way. The children's picnic will be ruined." "Cinders and ashes," gasped Thomas. "I must tell Sir Topham Hatt." Thomas reached the picnic just in time. "Quick," tooted Thomas. "There's a big storm coming. The picnic will be washed away." Everyone packed up the picnic as quickly as possible. And then they boarded Annie and Clarabelle. The children were sad the picnic was over. Then another idea flew into Thomas's funnel. He puffed quickly back to the airport. This time, Thomas wanted to talk to Jeremy. "Please, can the children have their picnic in your hangar?" he asked. "Of course," said Jeremy. "What a splendid idea." Thomas was very happy. Soon, all the children were having a wonderful time, and so was Sir Topham Hatt. "Well done, Thomas and Jeremy," he boomed. "Together you have saved the picnic. You are both really useful." Jeremy was happy to have helped, and Thomas had never felt prouder to be a steam engine. Thomas and Percy are good friends. Some things about them are different, and some things are the same. Can you see what they are? What color is Thomas? Thomas is blue. What about Percy? Is he blue? No, Percy is green. Thomas and Percy are different colors. What about their numbers? Thomas is number 1, and Percy is number 6. Thomas and Percy have different numbers. Is there anything you can see that is the same about Thomas and Percy? Thomas has tanks on the side of his boiler. Thomas is a tank engine. Does Percy have tanks on the side of his boiler? Yes. Percy's a tank engine too. That's something about them that's the same. Thomas and Percy are both tank engines. And they're both really useful. The island of Sodor is a wonderful place. Thomas enjoys puffing all over the island. There are lots of special places to visit. Where's this? That's right, it's Gordon's Hill. Gordon's Hill is one of the great Sodor landmarks. Engines puff and engines huff, trying to climb the steep slope. And then, engines wheesh and engines whoosh as they race down the other side. It was the winter holiday season. Whichever engine finishes their job first, said Sir Topham Hatt, can pull the presents train. James was grumpy. He had to work with Edward. Edward wasn't fast enough for James. But when they got to the top of Gordon's Hill, James was excited. The tracks were slippy and slidey. James cried, "This is the way to go fast!" James thought it was the best slide ever. Sometimes Gordon gets stuck on Gordon's Hill. The Express can be very heavy, even for a big, strong engine like Gordon. So Gordon's driver calls for Edward. Edward may be old, but he's the best back engine there is. Edward buffers up at the back of the Express. He huffs and he puffs. He shoves and he shunts. And he always gets Gordon up Gordon's Hill. There's another engine who thought he couldn't make it to the top. That's Toby. One day, Toby had to pull heavy milk trucks up Gordon's Hill. He puffed and he huffed until he got to the top, but it was hard work. Later that day, Gordon was stuck on the hill with the Express. Sir Topham Hatt sent Toby to be Gordon's back engine. Gordon groaned that Toby would never be able to push him to the top. He was only a steam tram. Toby didn't like being called only a steam tram. He thought of what his friend Thomas had told him. "You can do it, Toby," Thomas puffed. And Toby knew he could. Toby the steam tram pushed Gordon and the Express to the top of Gordon's Hill. So that's why Gordon's Hill is special for Toby. There are so many special places on the island of Sodor. Next time, Thomas will show us somewhere else. Today, Sir Topham Hatt and Lady Hatt have a long journey. First, they must go to Maithwaite Station to collect the mayor. Then they must go to the airport to collect the admiral. Then they are all going together to the Scottish castle to hear Alicia Bati's concert. But Sir Topham Hatt's car has broken down. How can they start their long journey? Who's that? It's Bertie the bus. Will he be able to help? Yes, Bertie can take Sir Topham Hatt and Lady Hatt to Maithwaite Station. Now they have met the mayor, But Bertie will be too slow to get to the airport in time to meet the Admiral. But who's that? It's Thomas. Will he be able to help? Yes. Thomas can take Sir Topham Hatt, Lady Hatt, and the mayor quickly to the airport. Now they have met the Admiral, but Thomas will be too slow to get them to the Scottish castle in time for the concert. But who's that? It's Harold the helicopter. Will he be able to help? Yes, Harold can fly everyone to the Scottish castle. Thanks to Bertie, Thomas, and Harold, everyone has arrived at the castle in time. And now they can all enjoy hearing Alicia Bhatti sing. Here are two important places. They both store things that steam engines need. This place is tall. There's a round part at the top with a pointed roof. And there are 4 long legs that come down from it. It's a tower. Here's Toby. He needs something from this tower. Can you guess what it is? It's something that an engine needs to make steam. Water. That's right. This is a water tower. Toby has lots of water in his boiler now. This place has a big square part at the top and a chute that leads down. Something is going into the big square part that comes out of the chute at the bottom. It's a hopper. Here's Percy. He's collecting something from the hopper. Can you guess what it is? It's something engines need to burn in their firebox. Coal. That's right. This is a coal hopper. Percy has lots of coal now. See you soon, Percy. See you soon, Toby. Percy and the Carnival. It was a beautiful morning on the island of Sodor. All the engines were very excited. It was the day of Sir Topham Hatt's carnival. Children would be coming from far and wide. There was to be a special visit from the Chinese dragon. Percy was delighted. He thought the Chinese dragon was the most exciting thing of all. Sir Topham Hatt arrived at Tidmouth. He had come to give the engines their jobs. Edward was to pull the carousel. Henry, the roller coaster. Gordon, the carnival people. Toby, the bumper cars. James and Emily were to pull the Ferris wheel. And Thomas, boomed Sir Topham Hatt, you are to collect the fireworks and the Chinese dragon. What's my job, sir? Asked Percy hopefully. You are to collect coal from the coaling plant. You must fill all the hoppers at the stations, ordered Sir Topham Hatt. A railway can't run without coal, he added. This is a very important job. Sir Topham Hatt left, and all the engines were excited. All except Percy. Coal? He sighed. And he watched his friends leave for their exciting jobs. Percy felt very left out. Percy chuffed sadly over to the coaling plant. This didn't feel like an important job at all. When Percy arrived, he could see a long line of freight cars. "I wish I was pulling something exciting," grumbled Percy. "Not boring old coal cars." Percy buffered up and pulled out of the depot. Percy stopped at a signal by a school. Toby puffed past, pulling a load of bumper cars. The children in the playground clapped and cheered. Then Edward chuffed by with the carousel. The children cheered even louder. Percy thought that Toby and Edward were having a wonderful time. Then an idea flew into his funnel. Maybe Toby and Edward need some help.